One. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very interesting episode of Lady Soul Podcast or Meet Hollywood Monday. I can't quite decide, but since it's like an actor and an actress, but they're talking about a show, I think it's going to be Meet Hollywood Monday. Hollywood Monday. Ooh, that. Hold up, back it up. This is going to be an episode of Meet Hollywood Monday. There we go. Whew, that was hard. Anyway, I'm Winona, which is one half of the And I Thought ladies, and we have books with And I Thought Divorce Was Bad, And I Thought Being Grown Up Was Easy, If Only I Were Me, a Memoir in Verse, Foreign Coffee, Widow's Wedding, Widow's Death. Those are all audiobooks. Check them out. You can check the rest of our 11 more books, so that's like 17 in total at www.andithoughladies.com. And yeah, since Jade is not here, I say it like I'm selling cars. So one more time, andithoughladies.com. But you're not here to hear about me. You want to hear about the Star Wars part of the Star Wars panel. So I'm going to let you learn from our panelists, like about them and why they should even be on this panel. We're going to start with Thomas, and then we're going to go to Tanya. Thomas, introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Thomas Carter Rochester. I'm an actor, voice actor, and I'm also the host of two different podcasts, one of which is called Reckless Rebellion, and it is all about Star Wars. I've been in the game since like 97, and I watched Star Wars when I was 7 too, people in your 40s, but guess what? I love it all.
Tanya, would you like to introduce yourself?
I am Tanya Todd. I'm an author, actress, and the host of the 52 Love podcast. I'm not here to throw any shade at people who are in their 40s watching Star Wars, but I am here to represent Dark Side.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Me too.
I'm sorry. Never mind. I'm not even gonna make myself stupid.
I like how we go live right when he's pulling up his shirt and people have no idea what is happening here.
Exactly. I'm so sorry about that. All of a sudden I was like, oh my goodness. I was supposed to make that live.
Me too.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dark Side represent.
So
that's right.
What I was saying.
Idea. What is happening here?
Exactly. I'm so sorry about that. Okay, so anyway, quickly, y'all, let's start with something so I can seem semi-professional, like I actually have control of the show, which I obviously don't, because we started off with a shirt up in the air, so yeah, I obviously don't. Let's start off with what started your love for the Star Wars franchise. Either of you can jump in.
It would be my dad and Blockbuster. I believe my dad had learned that they just started writing episode 1, The Phantom Menace, in 97. And he's like, you got to watch these movies. And I'm pretty sure I watched the original theatrical cut. I don't know why my dad just sounded like Batman, but sure, we're running with it.
That's not how Batman sounds.
Batman, sorry. Batman.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. So I watched the pretty sure it was the original theatrical cuts without the special features, and I watched those until we had to take them back at the end of the weekend, and that became the obsession of my life. It became the first nerd tattoo I have, which you saw at the beginning of this. If you're on the video version, that's what I was lifting my shirt up to show, was the Sith emblem next to my heart. There's so much great stuff in Star Wars that I kind of consume it all: movies, TV, animated, podcasts, audiobooks, read books, fan films, write my own,
Tanya?
I was also introduced to it by my father, and I feel like my brother and I were brainwashed from an early age. There was never any question whether we were going to enjoy Star Wars. But I think I've had the opportunity to see every one of the episodes in the theater at some point. I mean, obviously not when they first came out, but eventually, they've brought them out, and I'm a fan of the originals. I don't like the added digital aspects, or like, just leave it alone. It worked the first time. We don't need to add these elements.
Okay, so I guess I should add my story here. I like Star Wars because my dad liked Star Wars, but it would give me nightmares for 2 weeks. So Darth Vader would scare me. I couldn't go to sleep for like half a month, but I would watch it every time. Like, we're watching Star Wars. I'm gonna go watch Star Wars, and my mom would be like, "You're not gonna be able to sleep," and I'm like, "But it's worth it." So it was very enjoyable and a fun activity to do. Unfortunately though, y'all, I like the new ones. I loved starting with little Anakin and going forward that way. I mean, now when you see the old ones, I'm like, oh, they're really, really old. And I do agree with Tanya, like, we didn't need all the new stuff in the old ones. Could have left it alone. It was perfectly fine. And I mean, I also love the Ewoks, of course. Yeah, got to have that. Anyway, moving on.
I'm choosing to still love you anyway.
Right?
Oh, this is going to be fun. Yeah. Because now they blink, and I didn't like them before, but now I actually think I hate the Ewoks because they shouldn't blink. It creeps me out. It's creepy. Have you seen it on Disney Plus?
Yeah, I have. I just thought that was always there. I was like, have they always been weird?
That was a Disney Plus edition, if I'm not mistaken. Like, its most recent release of it all, and it was like, oh, we're doing this on Disney Plus, and it's like, oh, you could have given us the original non-messed with, but you're gonna mess with it more. Okay, fair. Lucas 2.0.
Yeah, I guess that's part of the Star Wars theme, let well enough alone, right? Just they don't know how to do that.
Well, I mean, honestly, it's Hollywood. If something works, well, then it can work better, and it could work harder. So, I mean, why not? They're like, it's good. Let's make it more. And then people keep watching. Okay. Anyway, I need to stop talking because I'm going to end up showing my ignorance in this panel. So my next thing was going to be like, what is like the little idiosyncrasies about Star Wars that you found either in story or in digital or in the new release stuff or animated that has increased your love for the franchise?
That's a very specific question. Oh. I will say that even though in large part the Star Wars movies don't pass the Bechdel test, they still have really strong female characters that defy tropes. I mean, Princess Leia was technically rescued in the first one, but does she seem like a damsel in distress by any means?
No.
Despite her tiny frame, she was the boss. Like when they arrived, she understood, okay, you all work for me and you're doing this poorly. Do better. Rescue me better. And she wasn't intimidated by Darth Vader. She stood up to him, not even knowing her relationship to him, but this is the big bad in the universe. And she's like, yeah, you don't intimidate me. You don't scare me.
I've never thought about it that way.
It's so Padme of her too.
Right. She does. She takes after her mother, but she also takes after her father. I mean, they both do. So I think Luke takes more after whiny Anakin than he takes after Darth Vader.
Why was I just thinking that when you were like, you said so Padme, you were like, oh, he takes after father. I was like, I don't hear the princess whining that often. She's only just taking charge. But yeah.
No, but she's a badass. I mean, Anakin was whiny, but he was also a badass.
He was skilled. I will go with he's definitely skilled. But I guess skilled goes with whiny. So I guess, when you have a talented person, they do tend to whine.
It was whiny because he was 19? Of course he's going to act like that.
Okay. Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah. I can definitely give you that.
People didn't like him for acting exactly like anybody else that age would behave in that situation.
I don't know. He's a Jedi. He should be like more meditation, definitely more mature.
He was never a very good Jedi.
It's very true.
Thomas?
I mean, have you seen the Clone Wars?
Yes.
He's breaking rules all over the place.
I was just watching it again last night, and I was like, look at this evil Anakin showing his evil little robot arm over here, beating the crap out of some young men. Rush Clovis, he's not a very good guy, and totally beat the crap out of him if you ever could. But like, he almost killed the guy, and he's like, I don't know what's going on with me. It's like, because you're giving into hate, bro. Don't get jealous.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay,
Um,
now I'm going back to watch the Clone Wars again. Thank you. Oh, I'm
yes.
just gonna say everyone in my household is now going to hate you because they're like every time she watches Clone Wars, she does nothing but watch Clone Wars. It's like you can dinner? No, that's what a freezer is for and a microwave. I'm watching my show.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
Okay, so we've done the story part, the idiosyncrasies. We have Boba Fett coming up soon.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, did Thomas give his answer?
Did Thomas give your answer? That's true.
I did not. That's okay.
Oh.
I was just gonna let it slide because I was like, okay, that's fine.
Oh, I'm not.
Much appreciated. Mine is how, it starts with, I love it's nonlinear storytelling. And it's that specific thing about Star Wars. We can jump right now. I'm into the High Republic era of the books. So I'm like 200 to 400 years prior to Anakin ever being a thought in the Force, which is so good. But everyone is so about to die that I'm really worried because now I love these characters and I don't watch horror movies because I fall in love with the characters and then they get murdered. And I'm like, what's the point of this?
That's funny because I watch horror movies like, oh, look, the bodies.
The bodies of the
That's right.
I love the nonlinear storytelling because you can dive into whenever you want. And there's so many different themes that you can see. Life is cyclical. Everything happens in cycles. What was 20 years ago, what was cool 20 years ago is cool now. What was cool 40 years ago is cool-ish now, etc. So in Star Wars, there's always the same things happening. The rise of one side, the fall of the other, the balance between them. It is life and death. It is peace and chaos, and it shouldn't exist. But hey, we're alive. So that's what Star Wars has taught me through nonlinear storytelling, much like myself.
Nice. I'm sorry, we were going to jump to the Boba Fett, and then I remembered that there was something I wanted to address. How do we feel about the end of the new Star Wars movies? With the oh my goodness, my brain just dropped the
Rey.
name. No. I mean, Rey was nice. That was nice. The original bad guy still being alive, and I'm sorry for everyone out there like how to forget. Like I just woke up from a nap, so I forgot. Palpatine. Thank you, brain, for saving myself. Palpatine still being alive. I was surprised, disappointed, but still surprised and a little upset, and I don't know why. So maybe you guys can explain to me what the heck I was feeling. Well, how did you feel about it?
That's a tougher question. When it was announced, I was like, okay, but why? And I was like, well, surely they'll explain that. Asterisk. We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
And then we see the trailer and it's lined up perfectly. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm all in on this Palpatine story because I'm expecting answers. I want them to land this bird or land this fish. I never figured out which one of those sayings it was, but they don't. They explain why he's still alive with. Granted, I'm deep enough into the Star Wars lore that I didn't have to question it. I was like, oh, he's going to be a clone. Like, duh. It's Palpy. Good old Sheevy. It's good old Sheevy. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, yeah, they will totally explain in some form or fashion. And we'll get this. And it's explained away in a line of dialogue by a character who I don't ever learn the name of, played by Dominic Monaghan, who was only in the movie because he won a bet against J.J. Abrams, which is amazing. But also, J.J., just answer some questions for once. I love Lost. I love the ending of Lost, but this is Star Wars. I need answers. And that is how I feel about Palpatine. And I feel like it's not the Skywalker saga. It's the Palpatine saga because he's the only character there and he's the only true villain all the way through it out. And it's just like, okay. And I'm not as tied to the Luke of it all. Like, oh, it defeats what Luke did. And it's like, not really, because it's really not the same guy. But I don't know. Tanya, what do you think?
I'm a little less kind about it than you are. To me, it feels very much like it was. They had a vision, then they jumped from that vision, and then they tried to scramble to get that vision back, and it did not work together. The three movies as their own trilogy, to me, just did not work. They needed to have one person at the helm who would take that through line from the first movie through the second and to the end. And it shouldn't feel that disjointed when you have this much money behind this kind of powerhouse machine. I can understand if they're like, oh, we don't know if we're going to be able to do all three movies. We have to start with this, see where it goes. But no, that was never the case. They always knew that they were going to do all of this. So why didn't they just stick with the same vision all the way through?
Thomas, I'm seeing some head nodding and arm in the air thing. So you got to say what you're thinking.
Preach. I had an argument with my co-host. We had a discussion because I sent him a tweet and it was like, if they had a plan for the sequel trilogy, it wouldn't have turned out the way it did. And they're like, no, George Lucas didn't have this plan. He kind of blah 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 blah. I'm like, I look at it like this. They didn't have a plan for the story. They didn't have a plan for how they were going to produce it. They didn't have a plan for how they were going to coordinate between 3 different writing teams and directing teams. Therefore, they didn't have a plan. And if the business side isn't working, it's very hard to get the creative side working. And when you have certain, I like to call it the Sony effect, where you're just in there needling people to do what you want them to do in the story, but then you're like, we can't have this happen. And then it totally weakens the entire moment of the film. I'm talking about not seeing any Force ghosts. I mean, we could have had Ahsoka in live action, but I'm not going to complain about that because we got her as Rosario. So, but they had no plan. And then the script for Colin Trevorrow's episode 9 sounds exactly like what episode 9 should have been. And I stand very rarely, I stand alone most of the time is what I mean to say. That Last Jedi is the best Star Wars film of that trilogy, bar none. It's not even close. It is a great film. And if you remove this is not what Star Wars is supposed to be, and you watch it for the theme of those characters, where it's going, every one of them land, and it's the best movie by itself. You can watch it by itself and it's just like gold. I am also ignoring half of Canto Bight, but that's how you have to watch Star Wars sometimes, kids.
I don't know. To me, when you watch a television show, that usually has many different writers on it. So it doesn't need to be the same writer, but there's one showrunner who brings it all the way through. And so there's a cohesive theme, a cohesive idea for the entire product. This felt like, okay, here are the people involved, and then just ignore everything that the people before you did. Now we're going to do this. All right, ignore all of that. Now we're going to try to do what the people before them did while somehow trying to deal with the people before them too. And it just didn't work as a whole for me.
Okay, yo, I know this is a Star Wars panel, but I just want to say one thing here. Out of all the times you have seen so many movies with so many different writers and so many directors done well, and there's a beautiful canon, I just want to say, I feel like Marvel did it well, and everyone should just go ask them how they did it. And considering that Star Wars is with Disney, come on, y'all just walk across the hall.
Well, they weren't always together. They didn't start out all at Disney.
No, they didn't. But I mean, at the end, they were together.
And while their universe is working well, that's Kevin Feige. He is the one who's masterminding all of it. Not all of their films are gold.
No, but they work well as a whole canon.
They do work well as a universe.
Well, exactly. And I'm sorry, every time I go to a movie and it's been a long amount of films, I just assume that they will work well like Marvel. Am I wrong?
Star Wars was before Marvel, though.
It was.
Well, before the Marvel Cinematic Universe, anyway.
Before the Marvel Cinematic Universe,
Yeah.
But still, somehow Marvel pays homage to all of their comics. Even if they mess it up, they still pay homage. and they pay homage to their television shows and their animated series, and we all get to enjoy it as an actual cohesive story.
This is true. And Star Wars has no idea what they're doing. No, I'm just kidding.
I wouldn't say that. They are making
really
money.
does.
They know they're doing that.
Oh, well, listen, you can put Baby Yoda anywhere and it's going to sell.
That's Grogu to you, buddy.
Listen, he'll always be a Baby Yoda to me until I know he's not. Until we get a species, and then I can call him Baby Species. But like, Baby Yoda is just, my mom does not know that Grogu has a name. People outside of the Star Wars realm really don't understand what names are. They just call it Baby Yoda. They're the same people who say, Luke, I am your father. Scoff. But yeah, they're printing money. They're running through money. And I will say this, if it weren't for Dave Filoni, I don't think the movies are as good as they are now with the context that you can find, which wasn't there before. It was all headcanon, which is sometimes my favorite canon. But once they dove into the Clone Wars, which was essentially George telling Dave stories he always wanted to do and Dave making those. And now it's become Dave is doing Bad Batch, potentially 2 or 3 other animated shows, while doing producing and directing for Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Book of Boba Fett. I'm missing another show. I believe he's involved with Kenobi in the executive producing side of things, and the whole. Basically, he was told so much from George Lucas that most people go to Filoni. He's now the guy. He's the canon guy. He's in this timeline,
and it's
well deserved. This going on. Yes, he's earned that. I mean, he worked on Avatar: The Last Airbender and King of the Hill, and then Clone Wars, and now all in the Star Wars. I don't know if he can miss. I mean, he probably can, but
let's not jinx him.
Yeah, let's knock on all this wood around here.
Okay, so I should segue here, but I have this question in my head, but I'm gonna throw out my segue and then I'm gonna go back to the question. I should segue saying, but like you've mentioned like Bad Batch and the Kenobi movie that's coming up and Boba Fett. So we should probably segue and talk about them. But since this is my show and my question is in my head, we're gonna go do my question first, which is what character would you like to play? Would you like to play it in any part of Star Wars or before that we've seen on the screen or on TV? Or if there's any character that you would like to play that we have not seen yet, can you explain who they are and why you'd like to play them? Because Thomas, you're an actor, Tawny, you're an actress. I have no idea. I'd like to play anyone, just the silent person sitting in the movie theater watching the screen. That's my position. Y'all can actually play something.
So are you asking who we would want to play in the live version that was in the animated versions?
Live, I'm asking,
or in the books,
play, like either in the books and the live version, animated version, just best character that you
any character we want to play.
I like Ventress.
Yes. What a
Princess Leia is always going to be my favorite, but no one could be her other than Carrie Fisher. I mean, like she owned that, and I don't feel like I can do a better job with that. But we haven't seen Ventress on the live screen.
That's true. Ooh, you can make the Ventress too.
I love Ventress. I know how Ventress meets her end, and it is sad. It is so sad. I cried at work listening to that book because I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. They're in this fight and they're doing this, and then all of a sudden it's like, and I was like, oh, no, they're gonna kill her, and then I'm like, no, and I'm building a bike, and someone's like, are you okay? I was like, I'm listening to a book and you killed the character. I'm sorry. Here's your bike. Just go up front, dude. It was a great time. I don't have any one specific that I want to play, but I've always wanted to be a Sith because I have a lot of, I'm a nice person.
Obviously.
obviously. I have, I'm a nice person, but we all have our darkness, our dark side, and mine's a little bit on the crazy side. So it might sound like a joke, it might not. It might just be quiet and never do anything. I don't know. There's so many ways to take a Sith that can be from Loki to Hulk and everything in between. We're gonna keep these Marvel analogies
right
here.
Well, specifically the green theme, right?
Absolutely. Yes, we have to balance out that red. It is festive seasons.
Okay, now let's do the question that I actually threw this entire panel together for. What do we want to see happen in the Star Wars universe going forward? Starting with Boba Fett.
Well, you should probably know by now, I don't watch any of the trailers or read the spoilers before the show comes out.
I did not know that.
I've told you this repeatedly. I don't like spoilers.
I know you don't like spoilers.
I barely know that the shows are in the works, but I don't pay attention to the casting. I don't pay attention to the storyline. So I don't want to even get into speculation because I don't have any idea what is going to happen on these shows.
Shit. Okay, Thomas, since she just knocked herself out of
I'm like, oh God, I missed the days when I didn't do a podcast on Star Wars, and it became part of my job to know everything.
It's hard to avoid it when you're an actor too, because you get these notifications and you're like, I don't want to know.
I still don't read all of my scripts that I get sent. I'm just like, I don't want to know. I just want to know my part, do my job, and then I'll get surprised in the end. Star Wars Book of Boba Fett. I have some things that I want to see, so I'll stick to that. I won't get to any at all predictions. I guess these are whatever.
Thank you, Thomas.
You're welcome. It's going to be very tough. The Sarlacc pit flashback just has to happen. It's the thing we've been waiting for since 83. I wasn't even alive in 83, but you get the idea. I want to know how he got out. I'm assuming we'll probably just get him crawling out, is my assumption. Probably, I would assume a prologue opening up, just opens up with the Sons of Tatooine setting, and one day I crawled out of that Sarlacc pit and I was able to, do nothing. I almost died. It was very deserty. And how he survived, did he run into the Jawas? Did his armor come out first? Did the crate dragon eat the Sarlacc? Apparently that's a thing that happens. My second thing is I really want a recounting of the death of Jango Fett. I want him to explain to someone how he watched a Jedi slice off his dad's head and then just keep going. And we'll all know it was Nick Fury with a lightsaber.
That's right.
But they won't. I think that would be amazing. It would be a great character development moment, which you're expecting in these. And I want to say it's 8 or 9 episodes. So we're going to get that Mando season kind of length. Which means at least one episode has to be sad and depressing, right? I really want
the episode that I'm skipping. Nice to know. Thank you.
You're welcome. Who knows? Maybe Mace Windu shows up randomly and is like, "I'm sorry for killing your dad," and we're like, "What? It was Snoke all along?"
Right?
What if that actually became a thing, and then like he shows up and then we find out like a year or two later that he was killed, and all of a sudden we
get a song like Agatha. It was Agatha the whole time.
It was Agatha all along. That was Emmy nominated, by the way.
I know.
Sure. That's amazing. Catherine Hahn can do no wrong. That's Catherine Hahn in Star Wars. Why hasn't it happened? Kathleen Kennedy.
Make it so.
What the hell? More clones. We all know Boba Fett is the very first clone, 100% DNA, no age modifications.
Right.
So I want to see his brethren, preferably Captain Rex. I think that would be fun to see, especially with the big white beard, and maybe he recounts how he was on, the Forest Moon of Endor, which is thanks to Filoni, he's retconned into the finale of the entire original trilogy. But really, because of the Bad Batch, I really want Omega to show up, which would be his sister. He was codenamed Alpha, the very first in the line of clones, the first use of the genetic material of Jango, and the very last of it was Omega. Potentially, she was the first one that had been enhanced in the same way that the Bad Batch has. Unconfirmed, but I think she's force sensitive. We'll see what happens in the future. Anything you want to say so far, Tanya? What do you want to see?
I just want them to continue down the path that has been working. Like I really love Mandalorian. So if they can keep it tight like that, where we have amazing storytelling that is paying homage to the previous stories, but going forward, like we're not stuck in the past. We can have independent side characters having their own lives, but then we'll see something or hear a sound or like, oh, I know that sound. I know that ship, that kind of thing. I like the way they do those little touches. And then the music has been amazing too.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Yes, I do believe they announced Ludwig Göransson is returning to do Book of Boba Fett's score.
That's a good call.
Yeah. He the theme he wrote for Boba Fett is so good. I have it sequestered out of the song it's in, which I want to say is Captured the Flag, and it's somewhere in the middle, and you just get the full-on theme that we got in the Book of Boba Fett in credit sing. The man does not miss when it comes to music. A couple of things that some people have asked me, and I don't have answers for, is how much about the Mandalorian culture and history does Boba know? If only I knew that answer, I would tell people. Because I want to know the same thing. We know that he's at least a Mandalorian in some way, potentially from a past emperor of Mandalore as well. And then I would love, because I love some flashbacks. I really want to see some flashbacks to Boba as the greatest bounty hunter in the galaxy. Will we get a Cad Bane appearance? Whether in a flashback or
how would they do that in a live version?
I know. That's why I'm like, I want it. After, you don't know anything about Ahsoka.
No, but when I saw that
Rosario
Dawson was going to be part of Mandalorian, I was like, oh, she has to be Ahsoka because she looks just like her. Like it has to be her. That was one of the ones that slipped through that she was in the cast. Like now I know this thing that I'm not even sure I know. It just feels like it has to be the case because look at her. She's perfect for that.
Yes.
At least they got it right though. They got it right.
They did. I really do miss the way that you enjoy Star Wars. Like Mandalorian season 1 for me was top tier. And then it was like, as soon as 2019 ended, there was no such thing as information that people didn't want to shove in my face. The Spider-Man of it all makes me want to actually delete Twitter. So like Star Wars is just as bad because
I do have my Spider-Man tickets, but and just buying them gave me a spoiler. Like, just the cover of the picture that they have on the theater.
So you've seen no trailers?
None.
How do you live?
Because
I already know I'm not going to see Spider-Man
eternally. And I wear headphones in the theater during the trailers. I don't watch the trailers.
That is impossible for me. I have to watch the trailers. I gotta forget.
I love watching the trailers after I see the movie because I think that a good trailer can be a work of art. In fact, episode 1, I think, has one of the best trailers ever. The movie did not hold up to it, but the trailer is amazing.
Force Awakens trailer is on a different level as well. That first teaser.
Yeah, it's made for Star Wars fans. It's like, you must see this movie. You're going to get so excited. You have to be here.
Hey, remember when we thought Finn was going to be like the main character, the main Jedi of the sequel trilogy? And then they were just like, no, go over there. Yeah, that's some bullshit. Sorry for the language, but it really frustrates me because he would have had an amazing arc going to Coruscant, freeing the entire home world of, the Republic or the Old Republic and the Empire, taking control from Stormtrooper to freeing the galaxy, but instead he rode space horses.
Yeah.
That was
Beta Ray Bill is cool and all, but so that's what I want to see from Boba Fett, and I have a very strong feeling that we're gonna get way more than we ever thought we were gonna get from this series. And I would assume if you watch the trailers that everything we've seen from the trailers is like from the first 2 episodes max. Probably my guess would be the first episode alone, because it sounds like it's just set up. It's basically Jabba ruled with fear. I intend to rule with respect. That's the line that everyone's clasping onto, and that is like the perfect. Okay, he's taking over Jabba's palace, and he's gonna rule with respect.
You did? No, I'm just kidding.
Spoiler alert from last
I
year.
saw it. I'm only kidding.
No, talk about those spoilers. That's just taken to a new level. No, I'm joking. So how do we feel about the upcoming Obi-Wan Kenobi show? How do we feel about that? Not spoilers or anything, but how do we feel?
Yes, so much yes. Oh my god.
I think it's a bit overdue. We could have done that first, and then the second set of Star Wars.
Listen, darling, I very much agree. It was a bit overdue, but here we are, finally seeing me in my greatest gray-haired glory on the sands of Tatooine, and potentially, spoiler alert, other places in the universe. I know a lot more about this show than I want to know, but it looks like it's going to be everything we've wanted from a story of Star Wars set between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope or Rogue One. And I think this might be my prediction is Obi-Wan Kenobi is going to be the project that ascends to being at the top of my Star Wars story list. Right now it's Rogue One. I can throw Rogue One on at any time, and it is great in all its glory. Vader mowing everyone down like they're younglings is fantastic.
There's nothing wrong with that scene.
There is nothing wrong with that scene at all. It's
like,
perfect.
This is what it should have been to begin with,
I'm very hopeful that the Obi-Wan Kenobi series is going to set up more stories with Vader somehow. And I'm really hoping we get a horror series or anthology about Vader going on missions, but we see every one of them from the other side's eyes. And
let's keep James Earl Jones employed.
Yes. While we're at it, let's keep doing more Lion Kings and get him back, because hey.
Well, spoiler alert, he died.
That's okay. We can send him. We can talk to him in the stars again. That was a fun scene. He can just go do some ayahuasca, Simba. Just do some ayahuasca, dude. It'll be all right.
And see, that's another one where they should have just left it at the first one. We did not need a sequel. We did not need a remake. We should have just left it the way it was and stopped trying to bring in new stuff that isn't really new. It's just poorly done adaptation of the original material, which was already stealing Hamlet and Kimba, Kimba the White Lion meets Hamlet.
I've heard that Lion King 1.5 is the best of all the Lion King stuff. I've been told this.
I will have to disagree with that.
By big Pumbaa and Timon fans. And I'm like, I like them and all, but I'm here for Simba. Let's be real. Because I just can't wait to be Nala. We connect with the characters we connect with.
Well, he's yet to beat her in a fight. So, yeah.
So, okay. Oh,
you clearly never saw the sequel.
The Lion King. This is enjoyable. I'm trying to figure out where else. Can we get some Doctor Who?
Is this sponsored by Disney? Like, really?
No. Let's
talk Marvel, let's get some Doctor Who, and now we're talking straight up Disney.
What do we need? We need Doctor Who and Star Trek, and I feel like we would officially met like all the major points.
Simon Pegg is a transition between two of those universes. He was Scotty in the Star Trek 09 and then the other new ones. And of course, he's the voice of that really ugly character on Jakku, where it's like 1/4 portion. That's it.
Well done.
Yo, I mean, you're always like dead on perfect, by the way, almost. Anyway, moving on. Sorry.
Almost. Thank you. That makes me feel a lot better. I was like, that's a lot of
You should be an audio artist.
Or an actor. Imagine you should be an actor.
Who, me? What? Could you imagine? That'd be crazy.
Okay. So I was kind of, when you were saying about like you were hoping that it could like bring together like the Revenge of the Sith all the way up to like the New Hope sort of thing. Didn't Star Wars Rebels the cartoon kind of do that? But like Obi-Wan was like way back in the background. So I was hoping it'd be like the side way, because you felt like you were getting on Rebels, you felt like you were getting like this little corner pocket over here, and the main stage, it was like you were just stuck looking at like one side of the stage and the main stage was over there. So I'm hoping we get the main stage out of this one, because I really love Star Wars Rebels, the animated one, and I watch it quite often, which is sad because I'm like
not sad at all. Not sad at all. It is so good.
Did you just say you're embarrassed because it's a cartoon?
Yes, I'm grown.
What? Who the frack cares about being grown? If it's a good story, it's a good story, and animation is harder to do than live action. And I'm saying that because I don't have anyone to draw cool stuff for me to put voices on. So, I mean, I can record my dumb self here and there, but no, love Rebels. It's way better than people give it credit for. And until season 7,
it's a good show. It's just animated poorly.
It is animated very poorly, very poorly. I hate the skinny sabers, but I can look past it the same way I look past them in the original trilogy.
There are also continuity issues. Like, hey, did you know that this skinny saber can take down an AT-AT? You know, yeah, that's not how the Force works.
In cartoons, you can suspend reality like that.
It's not suspending my reality.
That's the ayahuasca that you need. Where will we go? Oh, animation. Rebels. Yes. So Rebels did do that. It was like 4 years up to like Rogue One, and it actually is the main story. Well, it's not. It's a pocket of the rebellion story, because I mean, who saw the semblance of the rebellion in season 3, episode 18, titled "The Hidden Cargo" or something like that? Precious Cargo, something like that was the name. And then it's like, oh, okay, like this is just going to be a simple episode, and then at the end, the Rebel Alliance is formed. We never saw that coming, in the same way we didn't see certain things from Clone Wars. And I think we will get information in Obi-Wan that will make more sense when you go back and rewatch Rebels. Because I think there's some lines from Rebels that are like, you're tilting your hand at something here that, you know, so the apprentice lives. Like, that line is the one that I always think of, especially, I mean, I don't know if you guys remember this part or not, but like his eye goes from evil Sith down to Anakin for a split second, and then the rage comes back and his self-loathing of, I'm not good enough to be your master, whatever. I don't know. Whiny Anakin. I don't do it whiny Anakin well. Oh, wait. Yeah, hold on. I don't like sand. There it is. Which, to be fair, 100%, everything he says about sand, it's right. That's why I don't go to
He's not wrong.
He's 0% wrong. The older I've gotten, the more I appreciate how he just leans into just like, I hate it. Yeah, I do too. And the rebels of it all, it's gonna continue in live action. Spoiler alert. I mean, there's the Ahsoka show, so we've seen Ahsoka, and she's looking for Grand Admiral Mithron Rodo, which I, for one, am more excited. That is, here we go. Random question for everyone. Who's your favorite Star Wars character?
I already said Princess Leia.
Okay, it's Princess Leia for you still.
I'm basic. I'm going with Luke. I'm real
Really?
basic. So basic.
Do you also like pumpkin pie? I can bake you some.
No, don't.
No. I don't know.
Sweet potato pie, yes, but not pumpkin. But yeah, I'm pretty basic on this.
I have to learn the sweet potato pie. Mine is becoming Thrawn because of the books. I listened to the canon trilogy set in between Star Wars Rebels, which just, yes.
So the first
get
time I
so
saw
much
him, it was
context.
just, why did nobody tell me about this? It's like, that's
Okay,
mine. Everyone knows that's mine. Why did no one tell me about that? I would have watched this a lot sooner. You should have just told me. Just let me hear him. Show me. Show me the way.
Everyone loves a great piece of art.
Right. Yeah.
And the way that his mind works, which you get a little bit diving into, he's borderline autistic as a character. Like, he understands social dynamics almost none. And I
don't think he's
resonate with that.
autistic. He's just a sociopath.
He's not written as a sociopath for
I'm
sure
sorry,
in the
to
books.
borrow a line from Sherlock, he's a high functioning sociopath.
He's very high functioning. But I mean, in the way that he doesn't actually understand social dynamics and political stuff, he just does his thing and is just like, I don't understand.
It's because
why
he's a
you're
man
upset.
without peers. They're all beneath him.
That is definitely his mindset, for sure. But the trilogy ends right before the final mission of Rebels, the book. So then it's like, maybe we'll see it. It's like, you about to go meet Bob the Purgill over here and go spend some time in the Beyond section of Star Wars universe canon. And the current trilogy, the final book, Thrawn Ascendancy, Greater Fire, I think that might be it. The third book just came out last month, and I just finished book 1 of that audio book trilogy. Well, it's a book too. You can read it with your eyeballs. I just like to listen because it has the Star Wars sound effects, the pew pew lightsaber fights when they fight, doors that raise, and great voice acting. Highly recommend it. Thrawn, the podcast. I wish I could play Thrawn, but they're getting they're getting a different actor to play Thrawn. Trying not to spoil it for time.
Oh goodness.
Thank you.
So on my scary scale, Thrawn is definitely on my scary scale for just mental chess movements, and that I was like, why do they have someone in a cartoon that's so astute on like human actions and motives, but cold? That doesn't, I don't think kids should ever know about that. I'm sorry. Moving on, Tanya.
We are here to scare the children.
Mwahaha.
It was like a psychological Doctor Who monster. That's what it was.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
That's good.
I don't like Darth Vader. Come on.
The hell you say?
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Impressive.
Most impressive.
So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up with first of all, we're going to ask like your favorite line from Star Wars, and then of course we're going to want to know where people can find out more about you.
Oh my gosh.
You know how many hours of Star Wars I have in my brain?
So many things going through my head right now. There's no way for me to pick a single quote.
Okay, two. Cool.
Ooh, okay, two. Ooh.
I can tell you my most frustrating line.
Okay, that'll work.
Ooh, that sounds
That's
fun.
Yoda, where he has the audacity in a life-saving situation to say, around the survivors, a perimeter create, where everyone is just like, get to the verb, man. We don't know what you want us to do. People are dying while you finish this sentence because you put the verb at the end and we don't know what to do with these people.
Oh my God. Never thought about that. I love
It
that.
takes a writer. It takes a writer. It really does.
Well, think about it. Everyone is just they're gathered around him and he's giving instructions. They're like, what do we do, Yoda? And then he starts this very long sentence and they can't take action until his last syllable.
Tanya, I just want you to know that in my next book, I am writing a sentence that way. And I'm like, because I feel like it holds the suspense more. Yes,
So in your next book, a sentence like that you will write.
Exactly.
I've got two.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tanya, you need to tell me where they can find you. And then it's Thomas's turn.
That's my man.
Okay. I am across social media at Ms. Tanya Todd. My website is www.mstanyatodd.com. You can find me on IMDb under Tanya Todd, and on YouTube and Spotify and the other usual podcast places you can find the 52 Love Podcast.
Thank you, Thomas. Your turn.
I've got two quotes because you said two, and that made my life a lot easier. Number one is hope is like the sun. If you only believe in it when you can see it, you'll never make it through the night. And my other one is
that's not very dark side.
I know that I don't need dark side quotes. I live dark side. I have it next to I have a hate symbol next to my heart. Okay. I got the Sith emblem burning a hole between my heart over to the Joker tattoo. It's just madness over here. Ironic that my next one is going to be from Yoda as well. And it is when all choices seem wrong, choose restraint.
Love
you did the At least you didn't do a Chewbacca quote. I was expecting that.
I mean, that was my third one. Everybody loves a oh.
I can't believe neither of us said I love you. I know.
Damn it.
Well,
he's no good to me dead. Like there's so many good ones. That was hard.
Oh my goodness. It's like, I'm sorry, as you're going, I'm like, oh, I remember that scene. I'm not so bad as a Star Wars moderator for a panel. That was a series I like.
Or, no!
Where's Padme? I'm always partial to my text tone, which is hello there.
Yeah.
I love that.
So every text I get, sometimes when they come in rapid fire, I'm like, no, not today. Obi-Wan, I choose the high ground.
Okay, Thomas, where can people find out more about you and your podcast?
That is, of course, an important thing. Linktree.com/TC Rochester Act. That's TCROCHESTERACT. That'll have links to my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, website, IMDb, YouTube, etc. All the links, all the podcasts, all the stuff. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, both of you, for being here today. I'm the moderator, therefore I don't have to come up with a line. Yay. You can find out, I'm Alona, and I'm half of the And I Thought Ladies, and you can find out everything that your ladies are up to at www.andithoughladies.com. We want to thank our guests again for being here, because I have learned so much about Star Wars. More than I probably even thought I needed to know. Anyway, when you go to that page, please go down to the bottom of the page and go to the ladies tab down to the bottom of the page, and you can see the charities that we proudly support. We ask that you please support them too. And remember that wisdom is all around you if you're open to finding it and accepting it. And this panel has proved that it even works for Star Wars.